Good afternoon, class of 2020. I am Derek Richardson, and I'm honored to be the principal of Sammamish High School. I am pleased to be joined by other representatives of your building leadership. As I introduce them, I'm going to ask them to turn on their cameras and say a quick hello. I know each of them have been waiting eagerly to be able to greet you. At this time, Ms. Heather Smith, who is our counseling department chair.
Hi.
Ms. Arnone, assistant principal.
Glad to be here. Hello, totems.
Ms. Grigsby, assistant principal.
Howdy do, class of 2020.
Mr. Cochran, assistant principal.
Hey everybody, happy to be here. Miss you all.
Your senior class officers, Kylie Beagles.
Hi.
And lastly, Grace Patterson.
Hi, everyone.
And our athletic director, Mr. Wesley Newton.
What's up, Totes? Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy during these times. I want to give you a quick update on spring sports and recognizing our seniors from these programs and the seniors from our clubs. Miss T and myself have been gathering a lot of information from coaches and advisors about each senior in their program. Miss T is in the process of creating a write-up that's celebrating the groups of seniors from each group, and she's going to be sending this out to our staff, students, and it's going to be going in our weekly newsletter to the parents. You guys should have received one today celebrating our awesome girls golf team and those seniors that have put on a show over the last 4 years for us. If you have any more information that you'd like to get to us, photos or just anything about our seniors in clubs or on our spring sports teams, please feel free to email me and we will get that stuff included. Hope everyone stays safe, and I hope to see all you guys soon. Back to you, Mr. Richardson.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Newton. We are extremely excited by this opportunity to connect with you. We have missed you so much. We miss seeing you in the hallways, engaging with your friends, observing your brilliance in the classroom, and watching you perform on the stage or compete on the course, fields, courts, and track. All of us were so disappointed when the announcement was made to close school buildings for the remainder of the year. While my heart hurt the most, thinking of all the memories that were yet to be made, I didn't anticipate the emotional and psychological toll this news would have on me. In the days following the announcement, my emotions were all over the place. The thought of having to sit in the front of the computer for hours over the next few months, or not being able to engage with you and feed off of your energies in the hallways, was less than motivating. The disappointment was real, and so was the grieving. I struggled to accept that this was our new normal, or anything but normal, at least for the next few months. If I was impacted this way, I could only imagine how and what you were feeling. I share this with you because I want you to know that however you are feeling, that it's okay. You are not alone. And if I can borrow from your theme, I want you to know that we are all in this together. When I was struggling the most, I found that through my daily connection with Mr. Cochran, Miss Arnone, and Miss Grigsby, I was able to recenter and recharge. I was able to lean on those people who are closest to me, and together we were able to lift each other up so that we could begin to focus more on the possibilities and less on the unfairness of our current reality. I encourage you to give yourself grace and to lean upon and into the relationships with your family, friends, teachers, counselors, and administrators to help see you through this moment. In a few minutes, I will ask Mrs. Smith, the counseling department chair, to share additional resources that are available and how to access them. On April 9th, there was a district-wide town hall led by district leadership. The purpose of that town hall was to share general information and guidance for seniors and families across the district. If you did not participate in that live presentation, I encourage you to watch the recording that is posted on BSD's website. Our purpose tonight is to build upon what was shared during the presentation and provide information for our senior class that is specific to Sammamish High School and provide opportunity for you, the class of 2020, to explore possibilities and be creators of your future world. I anticipate that most of you will have questions or wonderings about graduation and prom. There are important milestones, rites of passage, and opportunity to celebrate the work that you've put in and the challenges that you've overcome over the last 13 years. I promise you we will address those events. However, there are still classes to be passed, credits to be recovered, and plans to be completed that will ensure each of you has the support that you need to finish strong. To get us started, I am pleased to introduce Ms. Heather Smith to share information from our counseling team.
Hello, Totems. Hope you're all well. So a few topics that we know of that are of concern right now to seniors, and I'm just going to cover a few quick things. One is grades. Make sure if you're worried about your grades, you're talking with your teachers and you talk with your counselor. We can do Teams chats, we can do email, we can do phone calls. So just come and talk with us. Fourth quarter grades will determine your final letter grades. And it actually has not been determined whether it's going to be letter grades or pass-fail for the end of the school year. So we're still waiting to hear from the state on that decision, but know that colleges have already informed us that if it's a pass-fail grade, you are fine. You don't need to worry about the letter grades for college admissions and scholarships in that. GPA, if you happen to be under a 2.0 GPA, know that that requirement is waived for you at this point. Community service has been a big concern for students. So currently, if you have 30 hours of community service logged by this Friday, your requirement for community service will be marked as met. If you have under 30 hours, then that will be marked as waived for this transcript. The high school and beyond plan, an email was sent to you that stated that you needed to complete the 5 parts in Naviance that make up that high school and beyond plan. And Ms. Scott, our college and career advisor, actually emailed out directions on how to actually complete those pieces. And we have published that on our school website also. So make sure you go into Naviance and complete those 5 pieces. If you do have questions, you could ask your counselor or email Ms. Scott directly, and she can help you out. Sport for PE. You do need this Sport for PE for graduation, some of you, so make sure that you complete your application form. Make sure you go on to the BSD website and sign up for the assessment. Those are happening. And then make sure if you're doing the assessment, do that study guide. Remember that study guide is kind of your key to passing this test. And if you have any questions, please contact your counselor. We're here to help in any way we can. Now, finally, we know that this is really a tough time and a time of uncertainty for everybody. Some are feeling really frustrated and some are anxious, upset, even angry over the loss of this end of your senior year. Know that you aren't alone. We're here with you. We're feeling the same things you're feeling, and we're here to support you. Please contact your teachers, your counselor, whoever that safe adult is, if you're needing some extra support. We are always available. And be sure to pay attention to your needs at this time, right? Stay connected with your friends, whether that's through phones, chats, Teams, texts. Make sure you tap into any kind of new creativity, learn a new skill and art, start a journal, get some physical activity, whether that's something at home, an exercise bike, whatever, or taking walks through your neighborhood. If you're feeling anxious, utilize certain apps that might help support. So there are apps like Calm, Happify, Headspace, Virtual Hope Box. Those are all some apps that can help give you some techniques to calm down and not be as anxious. If you or a friend is having an urgent mental health need and you can't reach your teacher or your counselor or anybody, you can text the word home to 741-741, and there are 24/7 supports there available. We do have additional resources on the SHS district website, on the SHS website and on our district website. And then always remember, you matter, you aren't alone, and we're here for you. So always get a hold of your counselor or your teachers so that we can help in any way you need it. That's it from the counselors, and I'm going to turn it over to Miss Arnone.
Thanks, Ms. Smith. Hi, Totems. It's been too long. I'm so happy to be in this space with you, even if I can't see you right now. Your presence is felt. One of my many roles at Sammamish as one of your assistant principals is to support seniors in their pathway toward graduation. Almost all of this is done in partnership with Ms. Smith, the counselors, your graduation success coaches, and a few other teams that we have in place, including some new ones after school closure. We're here to support you in your efforts to complete high school and to create opportunities that fill the need for the learning that's now taking place. And that's so much different than your traditional 12th grade second semester in a physical location, your classroom. Now, you may be aware of the supports we've had in place all year long, and that includes tutorial, academic support from the graduation success coaches, Ms. O.Y. Saida, and we have a new one actually, second semester. If you needed to take a class to recover credit, counselors will have worked with you to put you in an academic seminar class with Ms. Thomas or Mr. Bartholomew. If you didn't pass a running start class that is a graduation requirement, your counselor should be in touch with you also to make sure you can access other options that include those credit recovery classes. If you receive special education and ELL learning support, know that we're working with your case managers, your counselors and teachers to make sure you have all of the opportunities you need to meet those graduation requirements as well. All year, we've been monitoring your progress toward on-track graduation. Our goal is to really provide you all of the supports you need to eliminate the barriers that you would get in the way of your graduation in progress. So you can imagine that our shift to remote learning after school closed was a new experience for everyone, almost everyone. It required making communication that was ongoing and valuable to you a major priority. So in response to these needs that are changing, we've added a special team called the Senior Support Staff Team, and this was added after the first week of school closure. Those individual staff members on this team work directly with selected seniors to accomplish this priority of communication and engagement and to fill in any gaps anticipated in support. The team's made up of classified support staff that are connecting with specific seniors to establish working relationships and provide them with academic support in senior classes required for graduation. So some of you may have already heard from these staff members. So this last week, the week before spring break, the team devoted itself to connecting with seniors. We identified as needing support in grad required classes. They obtained makeup work for those students. They set up follow-up sessions with them. They provided one-on-one support or small group support, and they also reached out to the parents and guardians of these students. The senior support staff is also joining in class sessions and tutorials as needed, and we're monitoring the numbers of attempts and or actual contacts that the staff makes this week with you. Some of you are considering more general support. If you just need access to your teachers or just general spaces, the district learning plan shared before break included a scheduled learning lab and daily opportunities for teachers to pre-schedule check-ins with you. We're also monitoring closely the progress. So if you are one of these selected students that the senior support staff is assisting, we're actually going to continue and monitor your progress for a few weeks afterward, even as expected, your grades increase. That staff team is also engaging in class-specific training. So for example, last week, those assisting in 12th grade English courses were trained on how to support you with essay writing. As far as ongoing support, we've actually added a new graduation success coach. So we now have two, Saida O. Weiss and Reggie Raban. So you may have heard from them either via phone call or Teams or email. They're also part of the student support staff team. And they're working with you, your teachers, paraeducators, and the academic seminar teachers to make sure you also receive that support. For those of you who are working on meeting the Washington State history requirement, Saida and Reggie have contacted you directly, and they've invited you to weekly sessions to get support meeting this required course. These sessions are scheduled for 1 to 2 p.m. every Wednesday, so please make sure you reply to the request and you've signed up for these times. Districts also, as Ms. Smith mentioned, sent out information to fulfill your high school and beyond plan. So again, please contact Ms. Scott for more information. Your counselors and teachers have been super terrific in communicating your needs to these teams, but some of you feel you may need more academic assistance. If this is the case, please just let your counselor know and we'll work with you to make sure you've got everything you need to cross the finish line. On a related note, I also wanted to connect with you about advanced placement testing. And in the face of school closures, AP is still providing those opportunities for students, for you, to show your content mastery and strengths and gain that college credit. So many of you know that AP reformatted the exam, so you would take the test from home using any advice you wanted, computer, tablet, or smartphone. And the topics and skills that are covered in the exams will be those covered in class to early March. And so they've adjusted the time on most all tests to be 45 minutes. There's a few tests that are a little different, like world language tests. You can take the exam on, again, any device you want, and the dates worldwide are going to be the same for all. We'll still be doing it from Monday, starting Monday, May 11th, all the way to the 22nd. And I'd like you to make sure you check your AP exam date with your teacher or get on the College Board site. When on the testing date, get there 30 minutes early so you can access the online system and get set up. Some of you have inquired about course specific information. So the units that will be covered or not covered, the format of the test, the general description of the prompts, even the time, Pacific Standard Time for the test itself. All of that can be found on College Board, and you can also connect with your teachers. Specifically for AP Calculus, students will not need to use a calculator, and if you choose to use a calculator, you can use any device. So, to get you prepared for the format and content of these tests, AP is providing course review classes for free online. They're on-demand and live courses, and AP teachers will be receiving information on the testing environment later this April that they're going to share with you. In the meantime, you can log into the AP classroom and practice and prep for the AP exam. College Board, your teachers in the district have been sending communications about these changes over email, and they'll continue to communicate with you and your teachers. So make sure you update your cell numbers and information on your College Board account. Some of you have been asking about registration and refunds. There will be no new test registration opportunities, and College Board has noted that refunds will be processed after all of AP testing is complete. So more to come in the future about what that process looks like for you. So in the end, we want to make sure you're knowledgeable about and have access to all of these opportunities to make sure you're ready for your next step in life. I'm really proud of you for your flexibility and positivity you've shown. I'm proud of our staff for rolling with these changes and becoming a part of your lives in different ways. And with that being said, there are a few other places that require your need to create opportunity, especially those celebrations focused on graduation. So I am going to kick it back to Mr. Richardson so he can introduce you to our next guest. Stay healthy and safe, everyone. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We're just trying to make sure that people are on camera. Stay tuned here. Kylie, if you're ready, I would love to introduce you.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Hey.
I think we just have some tech issues.
Oh man, no, wait. Let's go back on that. I'm talking and you guys, I didn't have my mic on or my camera so you could see me talking. So just real quick, it is my pleasure. First, let me just go back and say that there was a lot of information that Ms. Arnone shared and also resources that Ms. Smith shared to help us get through this moment. So don't be afraid to or hesitate to reach out to counselors, teachers, or admin. We are all here to support you. Ms. Arnone shared a lot of information. This session is being recorded, so you get an opportunity to go back and listen to some of that information again, or you can just simply email the resources that we've identified. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce one of your class officers who's been working with this team to help plan what the rest of the year is going to look like for us. And so it is my pleasure to introduce Kylie Beagles.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Hi, everyone. So the senior class officers, including Grace Patterson, Seth Miller, Xavier Cruz, Gigi Wixie, and I, along with our awesome advisor, Mr. Tavitas, have been meeting online for the past several weeks to discuss how we will go about keeping our class community engaged during these uncertain times. We, like many of you, were frustrated that there is no definitive plan for prom and graduation because none of us ever imagined that any of this would happen. Our job as class officers is to raise funds and plan for prom and senior activities. And to do so, we plan lots of fundraisers. We planned Tolo junior year, homecoming this past fall. We made lots of mistakes and we received criticism because of our mistakes. But as a team, we learned a lot. And we knew whatever we go through, it was all going to be worth it because we would throw a really awesome prom. So when the current situation spiked and the school closed, we were disheartened, to say the least. When we finally pulled ourselves together, we knew we couldn't let years of work go to waste because we love our class and we owe you guys a totally awesome rest of your senior year. We immediately got to brainstorming for activities we can do at home, socially distanced, and virtually. Last week on April 15th, the class officers opened our weekly meeting for our entire class to join informally and share any thoughts, ideas for class activities and events for the rest of the school year. I'm so grateful to be part of a class that is full of amazingly creative and supportive people. We accumulated a bunch of ideas from our classmates and from our meetings that we'd like to share with everyone today, starting off with what we can do right now. I'd like to introduce the Class of 2020 Teams page that every senior can access through their school laptop the same way they can access their online classrooms. For the past several years, we have been using Instagram as a platform to post updates on school and class-specific events. However, we know not everyone prefers to use Instagram, and we get that. And we set up this Microsoft Teams page as a way to stay updated on events and socially connected to friends and classmates in a much more accessible way. Now with the Teams page, we are going to hold virtual social events and activities. We are planning on holding live stream movie nights where you can hop on to Teams with your friends and hang out with some popcorn just at home, socially distanced, it's all good. We are also planning on holding a virtual cooking competition. So kind of like think Chopped if you watch the cooking channel or whatever. So where we can assign a common household ingredient, for example, like cereal, and you would need to incorporate that ingredient into your dish. Send in a picture with an explanation on how that ingredient is mixed in, and there will be a panel of totally professional chefs, which will probably be Mr. Tavitas, and who will pick a winner based off of creativity and presentation. Another activity that we hope that everyone can participate in is a class art mural. How this would work is that you submit drawings, paintings, graphic design, any type of visual art that we can combine into a massive collage, which would be a really awesome project for our class that we can look back on. Another sort of virtual project, well, I don't want to say project because that sounds a lot like schoolwork, but really cool virtual memento is a senior photo collage. We already have a bunch of photos from everyone sending it in through Instagram and through our email, but we want everyone to send in more pictures from this past school year to create, again, a cool keepsake that we can all have and look back on. Moving on to prom activities. So, prom is another huge social gathering that is definitely not allowed in this current situation we're in. But we wanted that prom vibe, festivities going on somehow. Again, these are just ideas we have that we collected and wanted to share with everyone. Like most everything right now, nothing is final. So our idea is, whatever happens, we want to do some sort of prom. Like many seniors across the country, we can't gather in person, even though we would like to meet with everyone in person. We would have to meet with everyone online. And I know the thing with having a virtual prom, everyone's kind of against it, and I get that, but having a virtual prom is that we will be following social distance guidelines, and it costs almost nothing. So there's no loss in hosting a virtual prom during this time and potentially being able to hold a normal prom. Our idea was better something than nothing at all. We want to make it really fun for you guys, so along with the virtual prom, we will hold virtual prom activities such as a promposal competition, where you can send us your promposal, screenshot, video, etc. of you asking someone to prom. If you look on the right side of the screen here, we have our ASB officers doing just that. Winners, again, will be determined by Mr. Tavitas probably. And we want to do prom royalty as well in categories like how we did for homecoming royalty. So most athletic, most musical. We'll think of categories, guys, send it in, please. We want everyone's input. And for virtual prom night, again, we'll have games, movies, a class created playlist, a whole bunch of activities you can do. Again, these ideas that we're thinking about. We'd love to hear from you guys. You guys can email any of the class officers, DM any of the class officers anytime. Again, with the teams activities, which are separate from prom, more details and dates on those activities will be coming out soon. So thanks again, and I'm gonna pass it on to Grace. She's going to talk about our class budget, just ideas we have to put that money to use if we can't use it for prom again, just our thoughts and brainstormings on it. She'll also talk about more ideas on graduation activities as well. Thank you, and I miss you guys, and hand it off to Grace.
Thanks, Kylie. Hi, guys. If you don't know me, my name is Grace. I'm one of your senior class officers, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about our budget. Over the past 4 years, we have raised thousands of dollars for our class through fundraisers and events. The goal of raising this money was to be able to have an exciting, amazing, culminating event of our high school career at prom. However, with the current situation, we know many people are wondering what's going to happen with it. Our number one goal is to be able to provide the activities that the class wants as a whole. However, we're not willing to compromise safety for entertainment. In the event that we are no longer able to hold a prom where we can all be together, we've developed a preliminary plan for how we would use the money we've raised this far. On this slide, you can see that we have a quick snapshot of our plan. Currently, we've raised about $17,000, and the main 5 places that we've thought about to donate our money have been to pay off senior student lunch debt, the JED Foundation, Northwest Harvest, Seattle Children's, and for a legacy gift. With the money we've raised, we want to make sure that we take care of our own community first. Currently, the total balance that has yet to be paid for senior lunches is about $1,200. Paying off this debt will allow some families and students to have a little bit of financial relief in the midst of uncertain circumstances. Additionally, the JED Foundation is an amazing nonprofit. It strives to protect emotional health and aims to prevent suicide for our nation's teens and young adults. They partner with high schools and colleges to strengthen students' mental health, help with substance misuse, and help with suicide prevention in programs and systems. In the past year, we have lost 2 students to suicide, and partnering with an organization such as the JED Foundation will allow us to help in the effort to bring awareness to mental health. The donation would be made in the names of our classmates, Amaya Storseth and Gunnar Ness. Next, with the rate of unemployment skyrocketing and school being out of session, thousands of families are experiencing barriers in being able to access food. One idea we have is to donate money to Northwest Harvest, which is a hunger relief agency in Washington that is committed to serving these people. Additionally, as hospitals experience extreme lack in necessary equipment, we are proposing to donate money towards the purchase of personal protective equipment for the medical personnel at Seattle Children's. This is our way of helping to stop the virus that took so much from us and our community. And lastly, we want to reserve a portion of our money for a legacy gift. This is essentially a gift that is donated to the school from the senior class. We haven't decided what the gift would be because we want your feedback. You'll be able to cast your vote through a survey coming to you soon. Examples of legacy gifts are benches, murals, plaques, trees, gardens, statues, anything of that sort. Now, all of these ideas I've just said are only proposals. Nothing is set in stone at this time. If you have ideas on how to direct the funds, please share them through our Google Forms budget survey, which will also be sent out soon. And lastly, just to reiterate, our budget will only be used for donations in the event that the class votes to not host a prom after the summer, and if hosting a prom sometime during the summer is not possible. Now, if we could go to the next slide, we'll start talking about what everyone's been waiting for, graduation. Okay, we can go to the next one. We understand that many people are very concerned with graduation and what is going to happen with this important event and milestone. Due to the uncertainty of the circumstances we are in, there is no guarantee that a traditional graduation ceremony will be able to take place. We acknowledge that many people want to postpone graduation until an actual ceremony can be held. We, your class officers, completely understand that. However, it's very important for us to be prepared with a plan for graduation in the event that an official ceremony cannot take place. I want to be completely transparent with you. The door has not been completely shut for having a traditional graduation. However, with current trends, it's looking highly unlikely for that to take place, and that's just our reality. Our plan as of right now is just to gather the voices of the class before we make any final decisions about what to do. We want everyone to have a voice. Currently, we've been brainstorming different ideas for a modified graduation. Those include a drive-through graduation, a drive-in graduation, and a virtual graduation. We want to update you on our thoughts for each of these so that you can have a better idea of what you'll want to vote for, and maybe to help spark some creativity so that you can propose more ideas for us to consider. So, firstly, for a drive-through graduation, this is what we've brainstormed so far. This will obviously require more planning input, but essentially students would dress in their cap and gowns, hop in the car with their family to drive through the front of Sammamish at a designated time so that we follow social distancing guidelines, where there could be a stage for the graduate to walk up on, receive their diploma, have a picture taken, and then immediately go back into their cars and drive through the rest of the procession. Note that all people participating in the event would be required to wear the necessary protective equipment so that we help limit the spread, and any portion of this idea may need to be modified. Our second proposal is to host a drive-in graduation. This ceremony would most likely happen in the UW parking lot. Here we would be able to use a gigantic screen and have UW technical support to help us with projection. Details have not been finalized with this plan. However, we are thinking of having the ceremony pre-recorded with speeches from students, staff, admin, and student performances that will be streamed on the screen for everyone to watch from their car. Then each student's name will be called and their picture will be shown on the screen. This model is being used by multiple schools across the country, so we thought we would throw it out there as well. Lastly, we have thought of a virtual graduation ceremony as well. Obviously, this one will be the most safe from a socially distanced perspective. This virtual experience will be very similar to the drive-in experience in the sense of having a pre-recorded commencement ceremony. However, it will be enjoyed from the comfort of your own home. It will still include all the elements of a traditional ceremony, such as the student, staff, and admin speeches and the moving of the tassel. All of these ideas are just proposals for what we are able to put on as far as graduation. We do want to hear your feedback. Sometime this week, you will be receiving a survey asking for your input on what type of graduation ceremony you would prefer. This survey will also allow you to throw in your own ideas. We would really appreciate for you to include some of your own unique ideas to see what we can make happen. We thank you so much for your understanding and support, and we are working so hard to make sure that all of us seniors have an extremely special and memorable celebration. Now I'd like to kick it off to Ms. Grigsby to talk about some senior announcements.
Good afternoon, Sammamish community. Full transparency, because this just seems like a little bit of an awkward situation, I'm going to envision that we're all in the gym and we are in the middle of an assembly so that I can pretend I see your faces. I have a list of different activities that I'm going to share with you. Some of these come from some of the questions that you have posed to your teachers, to each other, and hopefully you feel as though this gives you something to hang your hat on until we have more clarity as we move through this quarter. So let's first start with, hopefully you've seen in the news, or maybe some of your friends have experienced having graduation signs. They would be, some people put them in their yards, some people might put them in their windows. It's just an opportunity to be able to say, yo, this is a graduate in this house and it's super awesome. Sammamish will be joining in with that, and our signs should be ready by April 30th, give or take a couple of days. And so you'll eventually be able to pick up your own graduation sign for yourself. There will be more information that goes along with this as we learn when the signs are actually done, and then we'll be able to let you know when you can pick those up. To transition to the next thing that I know that some of you have asked about, which would be your Jostens graduation orders. Our goal is to have you be able to pick these up at the same time as your graduation signs. We have been in contact with Jostens in the last couple of weeks, looking at completing all of your guys' orders and the process of that. Our goal is to utilize the roundabout in the back of the building in order for you to be able to pick up your packets and an opportunity to physically distance appropriately while still getting your things. Once we have a specific date for that, we'll get that information to you. Our tentative plan was to do that in the first few days of May, but we will be back in touch with you with a concrete date once we have everything solidified. And we know that all of your guys' graduation orders are complete. Now we're going to roll on to good old grad night, because there were questions about that as well. Some of you wondered if you could get your money back or if there was still going to be an opportunity to party together. And I can tell you that the parent committee is still working on the organization and planning for this event. Right now, as it sits, it's too early to cancel the grad night without forfeiting all the money that's already been paid. So stay tuned for more information here. The parent committee will be in contact as they are hoping to provide some sort of party for you around June 16th was the date that I was provided. Should that date have to change, the grad night party committee will be able to let you know what that will look like as we move closer to June and towards the end of the school year. At that point, if you have to cancel, what we will do is have the class get together and make a determination as to what you would like to do, whether you ask for a refund or try to do something later on. As you see, that seems to be kind of the moral of each story I tell, is that we will have to give you more information later, but do know that we recognize that these are questions that you've had, and we are doing our best to try to answer these questions the best that we can. So there will be more information for each of those 3 things that I just talked about. And then I am going to also transition to yearbooks and tell you what we know about that. First and foremost, I'd like to thank and give a shout out to Mr. Leffler, who is our yearbook advisor. Woo woo. And I'd also like to give a shout out to all of the yearbook staff who've still been working to complete this book. So claps for you all, because I know that it's really hard to do that when you don't have all of your materials, but thank you for doing that for the good of our community. What you need to know is that they are still continuing to build out the rest of the book. So that's on the upside. The flip side to that would be that, unfortunately, yearbooks are not an essential business. So the print company that we use is in Texas, and they are also a stay-at-home, safe-at-home order state. So right now, the production company is not producing books for any of the high schools that that utilize that company. So once they learn more about what they're doing in the state of Texas, that will help assure what we will get to do on our end as far as receiving books and getting them to you. So stay tuned there. I know that Texas is supposed to be having some conversations around May 1st as to when they'll start opening things. So we should know something more then about yearbooks. Also, many of you have asked the question about when can you return all those wonderful Sammamish pieces of property that you have in your bedrooms. More than likely, the returning of items such as laptops, books, athletic and band equipment, and other school property you might have will occur on or after June 17th. This is also when diplomas will be distributed, which many of you are going to want. So that will be an exchange of items, if you will. Once we have that date solidified as well, what we will ask of you is that you will bring all school property with you, and then you will exchange those things and get your diploma. That will be a part of the, what do we call it? It'll be a part of what we do to check you off and say that you're okay to move on with your merry way. So just make sure that you know that. What I would suggest for those of you who remember that you had a Romeo and Juliet book, but you haven't seen it in a while, you might start some spring cleaning so that you can find some of that stuff and make sure you have no fines, no fees, and that you're all good to go by the end of the year. Before I kick it off, back to Mr. Richardson, I also wanted to share a couple of other things, not necessarily things you've asked for, but things I've come across that I thought would hopefully lift your spirits or at least give you something else to focus on. So after this town hall around 4 o'clock, you'll receive an email from me that has a couple of links to a few upcoming events or activities that I thought I would pass along to all the seniors, just so that you can continue to engage with the world. First, I want you to remember this is Spirit Week. So post pictures of yourself engaging in the theme days on your Instagram, and don't forget to tag @SHS Totems to share with others. This is a great way for us to continue building our community and showing our pride and spirit for the best freaking high school around. Tomorrow is Home Hobby Day. So snap a photo of what you've been doing to occupy yourself while you've been home. Several teachers participated today by sharing pictures and quotes with me. For example, Ms. Healy, our accountant, she sent a quote today that was, "Stop looking for reasons to be unhappy and think of all the reasons you have to be happy instead." And I got the cutest little picture from Mr. Duncan, who shared a photo of his son outside making new insect friends. So be sure to send those, because if you're anything like me, you'll at least smile and be able to have that memory and a little fun with somebody else. So do the Spirit Week. It's awesome. And then this is not by any means to take the place of your prom. And so please don't feel that that's what I'm doing. I just wanted to share with you that the National Student Council Association in our wonderful country has set up different links for virtual proms based on your time zone. They recognize the fact that every student is in the same situation as you, missing out on an experience that you're supposed to have. So the association decided that they would put together different virtual proms so that you'd have an opportunity to kick it with people in your time zone. So this isn't just about being with Sammamish people. This is about remembering that people in California and Colorado are experiencing the same thing. So I've sent you the link. All you got to do is register yourself, make sure your friends are registered, and have a good time. So hopefully that's super fun. And the date of that is in there too. I believe it's May 2nd. And lastly, I put in my email to you just a couple of activities that, as the teacher that I am, that would help feed your brain and your soul as well. So I don't know if you knew this or not, but Audible is offering free audiobooks for as long as we're out of school. And if you're anything like me and you want to reread or listen to Jim Dale share with you Harry Potter in different voices, or if you want to pick up a classic, then hit up the Audible. It's free and you got nothing to lose, no money to lose at all. So take advantage. And then there's a couple other things in there for you too. So hopefully that helps. I know that some of you probably still have some questions, and we will get back to you with more solid dates for some of the things I talked about. And with that, miss you. I think the world of all of you. And if you need us, we are right here for you. So with that, back to Mr. Richardson.
Hey, thanks, Ms. Grigsby. And also thanks to Kylie and Grace for your presentation as well. Again, that's a lot of information for everyone to digest. Just know that we need your voice. We need your input. Be on the lookout for updated information. And we will plan this to the best of our ability to make sure you have a great experience, although not what we would want. So a lot has happened since that last day, or since that first day when we welcomed you into school. None of us could have predicted that our year would end this way. This graduating class, my first as principal, will always have a special place in my heart. I've heard it said that adversity does not build character, it reveals it. During the midst of this storm, I received an email from Kylie that was sent on behalf of the class officers. It contained a PowerPoint with great ideas and proposals for prom and graduation. At that moment, I was reminded of the resilience and character of our students. I am so proud of each of you. Know that you are strong, creative, and brilliant. Know that we are here for you, and we will get through this together. We will rise up. Thank you for joining us tonight. We look forward to continued dialogue with you throughout this process. Again, please continue to check your email for the latest information and updates. Also, make sure that you vote so that your input on the decisions that will be made about prom, graduation, and senior awards can be heard. Before we signed off, we put together some reflections and memories for the first half of the school year. If we could advance to that slide. And Teams doesn't support music, so we have to do it a little bit differently. So it's just some moments that we were able to capture. Again, we'll do another slide presentation that will be more inclusive. These are the pictures that some of them I had on my phone, others of them I was able to grab from Grace and Kylie, just to reflect on all of the great memories that we've had in the first half of the year. And how do we build upon that and enjoy those moments as we move toward the end of the school year. So again, thank you for joining us tonight. If you have any questions or comments, look for those forums, but also email me or any of the other administrators, and we'll get that information back to you as soon as possible. We are monitoring our emails all day. Again, we know that there's some uncertainty about a lot of things, but as soon as we have that information, as soon as our plans are solidified, we'll get that to you as soon as possible. So again, thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope you enjoyed the presentation and hope you enjoy the slideshow.
Your broken down and tired of living life on the merry-go-round. And you can't find a fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Ooh, mountains, we gon' walk it out. And mountains. And I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,008 times again. And I'll rise up, I'll like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,008 times again. The silence is quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we would take the world to its feet. Mountains, bring it to its feet. Mountains, and I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I do it 1,000 times again. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other.